So you want to learn how to read. I can help you with that. I have talked about reading tips on this channel before, something that I like to do every couple of months just to check in, see if I am following the tips that I have laid out for everybody else. I find that some of those tips are a little bit more structured, a little bit more kind of very, very focus based. And for me, sometimes the best way that I learn a habit or learn how to implement something in my life is to just make it fun, to make it much more rewarding than just a very kind of stringent sort of approach. So today, we're gonna just be talking about simple, easy, straightforward, and not that complicated tips to help you become the reader that you've always wanted to be. Rule number 1. I've created this one because I had a really wonderful comment on one of my videos saying, wow, you read such a diverse group of books. You're inspiring me to pick up something a little bit different than what I usually do. Thank you so much. You're iconic and fabulous. They didn't say that, but I felt like it was mandatory to add that in there. Just kidding. No, they were saying how they feel inspired to pick up a more diverse collection of books. And to me, that's great, that's fantastic, but only pick up those books when you feel like you're in a place where you really want to escalate your reading experience. So my number 1 tip is stick to a genre that you're comfortable with. Stay within what you know you already like. Sometimes when you try to force yourself into a genre or to a space that doesn't necessarily feel like something you'd naturally gravitate towards, you are stuck in this place feeling like you are fulfilling something, you should be doing it, you should be making those advancements, but you just don't want to. And then you're just stuck staring at this book on your shelf being like, wow, I'm never gonna pick that up. When I first was beginning to really take on reading as a habit, I always stuck within a genre that I knew that I wanted to read. And then eventually from there was this light bulb in my head saying, okay, you can pursue further options. And now I have been able to kind of expand my search, expand my repertoire, expand my boudoir of novels. It does take a little bit of kind of pampering your system, making your system aware that it can expand. But for the time being, when you're trying to kind of curate a passion, I think staying within what you like and know is totally fine and acceptable, and don't let anybody else tell you different. Number 2, to set a daily goal. And this isn't even a goal that you necessarily have to achieve, but to just kind of keep a running idea of what you want to read. The ideal scenario is to read every single day, right? To have a set time and place to read, but life happens, baby. I don't know about you, but I'm a girl on the go. I'm a girl who's constantly moving through life. So I can't necessarily attend to my novels every day like I should. I'm not watering them, I'm not feeding them to make them grow and thrive. So what I do is I keep this kind of running idea in my head of exactly what I want to accomplish for my reading goal. Just knowing that there's something running in the back of your head saying, I have to do this, I have to achieve this. It does help to kind of keep that framework in check. Now I'm at a place with my reading where I set a day or 2 a week where I just kind of cancel everything and I say, no, I gotta read. I gotta read. Yeah. Now that it is summertime, I make it a daily goal to go outside for a couple of hours and to read. Number 3. This one is gonna sound a little bit silly, so don't laugh at me. Laugh with me. This is something that I have learned kind of the hard way, something that I'm trying to kind of ease myself into. I am a little bit of a frugal queen, but I do think that it helps me in the long run. Buy the book when you see it and you want it. I know. You're like, I thought these were easy tips. And this is an easy tip. I'm just going based on my own life experience. When I go into a bookstore, I am the type of person to browse through a book, read a couple of pages and say, wow, that is exactly the style of writing and plot that I love. I'm gonna put it back. Yep, I'll do it. I'll torture myself. And then I'll come home and I'll look at the books that I have and be completely uninspired. Not that they're not good books, but they're just not what I want to read right now. They're not enticing me. They're not wrapping me in their arms and saying, baby, I love you. So for me, what I am slowly learning to do is when I am in that moment, when I am completely gripped by the story that I'm reading or just the premise of a book that is in my hands, I want to buy it or rent it. This doesn't have to be a brand new book. This doesn't have to drain your bank. Just get yourself in that headspace and immediately sink into exactly what you want to read. Cave to your cravings in that moment. Not that I dislike my books that I already have, but you do have to be in a certain frame of mind, and I feel like just having that buyer's excitement, it is a thing. Retail therapy is a thing. It makes you so much more inclined to pick up that book and just kind of further create this habit of reading. Yep. She's a shopping queen. Seriously though, it does work, and I feel really good when I purchase something. I finish it in a couple of days, and then I end up usually gifting it to my friends because it's a brand new book. Or a rented book from the library. I give it back more than on time because I'm a great person. Speaking of great people and great things, this might be a wonderful time to say a huge thank you to today's sponsor, which is Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of online classes and members who come together to find inspiration and take the next step in their creative journey. It's a place to get inspired, learn new skills, and to put them to work in impactful ways. Skillshare is the largest online learning community for creatives with a wide depth and breadth of topics ranging from illustration, graphic design, and photography to music, marketing, and productivity. It's a world-class community that connects teachers and members to inspiration and feedback from like-minded creatives. It has a learn by doing approach to teaching, where each member can create and share a project after completing a class. I have been taking the past couple of weeks or so and really going through Skillshare's library of informational videos, and I have been absolutely sucked in. As you can probably tell, I enjoy editing. It's a huge part of the storytelling process for me, but I am self-taught and I feel like I did miss a lot of those rudimentary steps. And so I've been kind of going back into just basic Final Cut Pro editing videos and learning some of those preliminary steps that make the whole editing process much more seamless. I've also been really curious about their lifestyle section. I have been having a lot of fun watching their plant videos because I really want to be a better person, and I feel like in order to be a better person I have to learn how to take care of a plant. And that's what they've been providing for me. It's easy, which is exactly the type of tips that I'm talking about right now. In the vein of kind of setting daily goals, you're able to kind of build like a little championship board for yourself as you go through these classes, and once you complete a full class, you kind of get like a little badge, which I love because I am that sort of person that needs praise and excitement to get through life. And what's exciting is the first 1,000 people to use the link in my bio get Skillshare for 1 month free, which is fabulous. Another great way to build habits. A habit takes 28 days, right? Right? I think. Anyway, thank you so much to Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. I've really been having a load of fun with Skillshare, and I hope that you can as well. Rule number 4, be a mood reader. Be moody. Everybody discourages being moody, but I say be moody, baby. I think you might have noticed if you've been following my reading journey for a little bit that I am really into outdoor reading right now. I'm so into it. I want to be in the realm of bears. I want to turn into a leaf, you know, just wave in the wind. Anyway, I'm so in the mood to read about outdoors that thinking about trying another sort of book right now is totally impenetrable to me. But rewind last year in January when I was only obsessed with reading romance books and like steamy, sexy books, if you told me to pick up a book about the outdoors, I would have said, do the mountains fall in love? Did they become lovers? Because that's all I care about. Be a mood reader. If you try to read a book that is so not into what your emotions are feeling, you just are not going to fall into it. Reading is an incredibly emotional journey as much as it is a very intellectual journey. You do have to kind of pair what you are feeling in the moment to what you are reading. And at the same time, you're going to interpret the novels that you're reading based on your emotional state. I can read a hilarious novel, but if I'm feeling a little bit in the dumps, I'm gonna read it as like a kind of depressive story. Being a mood reader just kind of aids that situation along a lot more. I'm a huge mood reader. I don't care. I'm gonna do it. Because why not? Number 5, and I've talked about this one before, but I'm just gonna really pound it in. Don't care about what other people are reading. I feel like in a lot of reading communities, there's a lot of like chasing and trying to play catch up with books that you might not have read, particularly pertaining to classics. Some people kind of brush you off as not really being that much of a mature reader if you haven't read XYZ novel, which I understand. And it is kind of a way of protecting the sacred texts. But at the same time, I also feel like there's a time and a place that you probably will get to those books if you do want to read them. And if you don't read them, that doesn't make you any lesser of a reader. You are still reading books. You are still encouraging the movement of knowledge and information. So for me, it doesn't really matter what books you have read. You probably will get to them at some point. It doesn't make you lesser of a person. So don't compare yourself. Really don't. Like, there's no need. You know, I am totally guilty of it. Sometimes when I'm on the subway and I'm reading, I definitely want to be seen carrying a certain book over another book, you know? It's totally something that we all cave to, but I just always want to reinforce it. It doesn't matter what you read as long as you're reading. It doesn't matter. But I will say, little asterisk, sometimes it is fun to read what everyone else is reading. And I say asterisk because that pertains to bestsellers, books that people find are hyped or overhyped. For example, the one parenthesis that I'm gonna say about this is that one of my friends who is not a reader, he picked up that new Rick Rubin book that has just been absolutely everywhere in the book sphere. He loved it and he said he got so much out of it, and it was a totally different reading experience than what like a normal novel can bring to you. And again, I think that's fabulous because that's not necessarily someone who's reading all the time. For the most part, really don't care about what people are reading. Don't care. Who cares? Find your community and just like run with it, babe. Number 6. Consider reading as a treat. When I first really started reading, I used to think that reading was like a chore. I have to read this book, and I have to read this amount of pages, and I have to do it this way, and I have to be able to have a grounded, reasonable discussion about it because that makes me an intellectual. Which is great and fine, and I think that that is a part of reading that should be addressed and should be made kind of hugely fundamental. But at the same time, I do think that reading should be seen as something that's relaxing. I think it should be seen as something that you come to look forward to. See reading as a part of your life that you can check out and just really enjoy the experience. Even with complicated, difficult, like philosophy novels, I do still consider it a treat. I consider it me sitting down and being able to check out from the world and being able to resonate with what's on the page and what's in my head. That is a really great way of looking at reading and not feeling like you're dragging your knuckles to pick up a book and to just get into it and then to finish it and be like, oh, it's over. Thank God. Treat it as a treat. Treat it as a treat. There you go. Treat, 2 times the treat, 1 sentence. And then the last recommendation, figure out a way to implement it in your everyday life. For me, a huge part of that was audiobooks. We use podcasts every single day. Maybe not. I don't mean to group you all together, but I feel like a lot of people use podcasts as a day-to-day way to kind of pass the time, whether it's on a commute, whether it's going on a run, whether it's going on a walk, anything like that. And for me, audiobooks have been a fantastic replacement to podcasts that I used to listen to. I am kind of on a kick right now of listening to exclusively nonfiction. I find that I retain the information incredibly well, and I do see it as a podcast. I'm learning something, and podcasts that I would listen to would usually be nonfiction based anyway. So that is a way that I've been able to really incorporate it in my day-to-day life. I go on a lot of runs. Sometimes I do listen to audiobooks while I am running. my pace is really slow based on how slow the person's reading. So sometimes it's easier than others, but when I'm walking, I absolutely listen to audiobooks. I do also bring books with me when I'm commuting on the subway. I find that it's much more of a fantastic use of my time to sit with a book and to read it on the subway than to just sit there and listen to music sometimes, or just kind of gawk at people, which is really hard not to do on the New York City subway because it's basically a fast-moving movie. Every cart that you get into, there's something wild going on. So it's hard not to want to pay attention, but you have to pay attention to your book. And that's that. Was that fun? Was that easy? Did we have a good time? I hope so. These are recent ways that I have made reading easier. I read quite a bit. I mean, I talk about books on the internet, so I feel like I have come up with habits for myself to kind of trick my brain to making the reading experience something that I don't fall out of now. I used to get into a lot of slumps, so I feel like these are ways that I have kind of gotten out of the dumps, gotten out of the slumps, and made it a fun experience. Thank you again to Skillshare. I can't wait to watch my videos tonight, just geek out. I'm really having a good time with it, so thank you so much again. Again, the first 1,000 people to use the link, you get 1 month free, which is iconic. Anyway, thank you guys so much for being here. You're wonderful. You're fabulous. I will see you so much. I will see you so much. I will see you in the next one. This world. Immediately buy the book. Oh, hold on, Barry. I'm filming something.